Hello everybody, how you doing? Pretty nice day out today, yeah? Did you guys have a little walk and talk with me today, huh? Let me get this thing parked and shut off and we'll get right to it. My goodness, what a lovely day today. In the 70s, a little bit of cloud coverage. It is absolutely beautiful out here. How y'all doing today? I hope you're doing well. It's a lovely day. Figure we get out here and do a little bit of a chit chat. Take a look at the beautiful surroundings out here. Last, I don't know, 2-3 weeks, I've already had fall colors coming in. And, this is August, so we're probably going to have an early fall this year, which could end up turning into a substantially heavy winter. Never know. As they keep saying here year after year, we're due for a bad winter. But we'll see about that, when it happens. So, today, I just wanted to kind of talk about something that I don't know if a lot of people really hit on. I mean, I'm sure it's kind of by proxy, the message is kind of in there in a lot of things, like videos like I do and other people do on my particular brand of, subject matter. Well, guys, let me adjust this a little bit. There we go. So I just wanted to say something pretty simple along the lines of, believe in yourself. The world's a pretty crappy place sometimes, and there's a lot of drama going on and across the world in general. But when I start talking in my videos a lot about prepping, survival, homesteading, bushcraft, and all this stuff, it's to a lot of people who's not used to it, that sort of thing, I can see kind of being overwhelming. It's like, man, where do I start? Should I even start if I can't get a whole bunch of all these items, all this food, all these tools, these backpacks? There's all kinds of these gimmicks and stuff. And, I don't want that for people to get like so overwhelmed that, it discourages them from even trying to be prepared. I think do it anyway is what I'm saying. Is you got to start somewhere, and you can't don't want to say like, don't look for perfection in while you're starting, you're learning. You got to start from scratch, and in any form of preparation is better than none at all. So like like with, say, things like blacksmithing, carpentry, mason work, there's all these things. It's very overwhelming, but it's like I said, you got to start somewhere. So hey, don't let that bother you. All the things I learned, most of it I had to learn by myself, and I had to do a lot of research, and there was practice. There was a lot of failures before successes. So I just want to tell everybody, believe in yourself. You can do these things. It takes time. Yeah, you may not start off and you're making masterpieces with whatever projects you're working on, but that's okay. You don't have to be a master starting out. So yeah, don't get discouraged. Like I said, I want everybody to at least have the understanding that you can get started and you can start covering your basics. If you do that, believe it or not, you're actually going to be well ahead of the average individual. Just having, if you national emergency, FEMA and all that, they recommend having, somewhere in the neighborhood of I think it was like 3 days, 3 nights, like an emergency kind of thing set aside, and then some, extended like 2 weeks. Whereas me personally, I think they should recommend 3 months, but that's neither here nor there. That's my personal opinion. So if you get yourself to where you're not going to have to worry so much about basic things like food, water, hygiene, shelter, things like that, and you don't have to be a professional, an expert, a master at anything to get those sort of things prepared for yourself and your family. And I understand it's in a lot of ways it's an investment. I know some people are like, well, I'm never really going to need the stuff, so I'm not going to buy it. But I will say this, there is probably, if you look at it worldwide over the last, I'll just say 25, 30 years, there is literally hundreds of thousands, if not a couple million of people that said the same thing and then really regretted it after the fact when a natural disaster hit. And in all realities, that could be the most likely thing that most likely will happen. Really bad storms, earthquakes, tornadoes, hurricanes, landslides, floods. Now those things we can realistically prepare for. And like I said, it may seem daunting at first, but if you do a little bit of research there are so many credible YouTubers out there that does all the same things like I'm talking about, that know what they're talking about. Figuring out what you need to cover your basics, your bases, it's out there. It's easy to find. And like I said, you don't have to get it from me. If I'm not your cup of tea, hey, that's perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. But I do encourage you to seek out someone else you enjoy watching, even if you just simply like the sound of their voice, or like Idaho Hillbilly likes to say, he's got a couple guys he likes to watch. It's for his relaxation. He's done a lot of work that day. He's got a lot of stuff taken care of. It's time to chill, relax. He turns on those videos, and I'm assuming most of them are quite informative. So I can recommend people at least try that and take notes. Literally sit there with a pencil or a pen and a notepad, take down some notes and make some goals. But like I said, you got to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, then you're not even going to try. And there's a lot to survival with the gear, all these fancy gadgets and all these classical, traditional, and primitive things that are very valid. And, I heard Les Strauss said, without the will to survive, none of that matters. None of that kit, all that school, practice, training. If you don't have the will or the fortitude to survive and to do what's necessary to survive, you don't have much of a chance to begin with, because you're pretty much already starting out as a defeatist. So if you've already got yourself defeated in your head, then you are defeated, because you believe it's to be such, and that's how the reality will turn out for you. And I highly encourage everybody, don't be a defeatist. Believe in yourself. Try. You don't have to do it all at once. I know a lot of cases, the big boogeyman that keeps people away from being prepared is the initial cost. And there's a lot of channels out there that show a whole bunch of stuff. It's really cool. They got the MREs, the big buckets of food, the fancy $500 to $1,000 backpack. That stuff's cool, don't get me wrong, but you don't need it starting out. I would dare say about $200 would, if you could save up through 3 or 4 months, $200, maybe even $300, and then use that to invest in just a regular bag. and then some emergency stuff to put in that bag, some very, your basics. And everybody's already covered the basics. There's no one that's covered the basics better than like Dave Canterbury. The 5 C's. You can go out to the 10 C's on that to expand on that. And that whole system is basically to cover what you really need and what's really hard to reproduce from nature. It's like the things that people really get hung up on is a cutting tool, that belt knife. Well, if you watch any of my review videos or maybe even budget videos, like these Epen Grows, fantastic, and it's incredibly affordable, very durable, well used. They come good and sharp. Even give you a Kydex sheath. I don't like Tech Block belt holster loop things, but hey, that's personal preference again. You don't need fancy cooking pots. You can go to the dollar store, find you a stainless steel, 2 quart, 1 quart, whatever quart pot with a lid. Now you have a stainless steel vessel that you can cook with. Go to Walmart, try to find a single wall stainless steel water bottle. That's something you can pour water in, transport it. I said, all these things are cool to have. You got a zebra pot, the Coleman cook sets. You got multiple types of that. You don't have to have those. As far as food, canned food from, say, Aldi's or Dollar Tree, you can load up with some emergency rations in your pack, which does not have to be a $100 to $500 fancy pack that's aimed directly at survival and bushcraft. Are those nice to eventually be able to upgrade to? Yes, most of them. Like one of my favorites is Maxpedition. Very well made, and that's why the costs like to do. Hidden Woodsman makes some fantastic gear too. His stuff's all over YouTube. Some of the most credible YouTubers in the field that I'm in, they've done all the tests. The product's good. But my point is, to start out with, you don't necessarily need that fancy pack. So keep all this in mind. And basically, what I'm trying to do here, I'm not even going to try to BS about it. I'm trying to encourage each and every one of you to be prepared. That's kind of what the channel's about. And that's why main thing I decided to start the budget gear thing. That's like, well, here's a way to kind of show people that you can in fact get some gear to start out with that works quite well, and it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. So there's that. But we're like I said, we're coming back to what we talked about earlier. If you don't believe in yourself and you don't have the will to try, or maybe you're even worried about people making fun of you, well, if they do, shame on them, because nothing else, they should be encouraging you and supporting you for the fact that you're taking the responsibility to have yourself and hopefully and potentially your loved ones, other family members prepared as best you can. The world's uncertain. This last, not even a full decade, has been some of the craziest that, in my lifetime I've seen. Now, I've seen a lot of changes. I'm no longer a young man anymore. I've seen a lot, been through a lot. But at the rapid rate that things are changing nowadays, it's almost breathtaking. And that's what being prepared really, really helps you do. It's like all these rapid changes and stuff, as much as they suck and they can be terrifying, if you're very well prepared, it's not so bad. You at least know in your head, you're removing that worry, like, well, if I'm not going to be able to take care of my basic needs. That's what the prepping's about. It gives you a safety net for whatever period of time that you're able to plan ahead and get provisions for. That's how our ancestors did it. And when I say ancestors, I'm just going back, say, 50s, 60s, 70s, and even the 80s. Hunting, fishing, trapping, canning, gardening. They did that stuff because it came right off the cusp of that's how things had to be, or you just wouldn't survive, especially out here in West Virginia, back in early 1900s, mid 1900s. If you didn't fend for yourself, then woe be you, because you weren't getting much in way of handouts out here at that time. And those people that went through the Great Depression and passed that knowledge down, that information is some of the most crucial, I think, has ever been put out there. How to get the most out of your foods. They came up with recipe to make food that normally wouldn't have been the greatest in the world to eat taste a lot better. And those cookbooks, recipes, food preservation techniques are all out there at your fingertips. You can, watch it online, YouTube. You can buy the books, or that's all I'm saying. It's out there, and like I said, don't think that it's so daunting and intimidating that you can't do it. Believe in yourself. Try and fail, but you have to be humble enough to learn from your failures. Because if you don't, then what are you doing with your life? I mean, sometimes it's hard to make the time to do these things. I get it. But then again, it's like I'm saying, it's not like everything's all at once or nothing. Everything like this is needed to be taken in small portions at a time. It's based off what you can do. And it's like, well, versus, I worked, Monday through Friday, the weekends here. I'm just going to sit and watch Netflix. Stop it. Don't sit there and watch Netflix. Do something useful. Learn something. And mind you don't have to do it all the whole weekend. Just take maybe one day out of your weekend. Save Sunday to relax. Spend time with the family. But at least spend 1 or 2 days out of your week. Maybe in the evening after you get home from work. I know you may not feel like it. Just try to learn something useful that you can take with you in that toolkit that's your brain, and that you can use in bad situations. For most of my life, what's a day off? And it was literally that that old daylight to dusk. And then sometimes if things were serious enough, you grabbed a daggone flashlight and you went out there and you worked in the dark anyway. You get 4 hours of sleep. Consider yourself lucky. But you live on a farm, homestead, and you're fairly poor. Well, like my dad said, that's what you do when you're poor folk. And I'm not saying I'm better than anybody else, because I'll tell you right now, I'm far, far and away from it. But what I'm saying is, after I got old enough and mature enough to slightly understand some things about life, and like I said, I'm still, like I said, I'm nowhere near perfection here. I'm just saying there is a lot of things I've learned, and the hard life that I did live built a lot of character. It took a while for me to get myself lined out to where I could see that and appreciate it. And I'm sure that's with a lot of people in the world. It's unfortunate, but that's just how it happens. I was one of them kids, I was told 100 times not to touch fire. Didn't respect it until I stuck my hand in there and got burnt. Hard-headed, as they like to say. But I'll say this, coming from somebody who's learned his lessons the hard way, I learned them well. And if I could share them with anybody and everybody who's willing to watch these videos, hey, hopefully I can reach a couple people, and I improved their life in some fashion. It's just kind of like a way of giving back. And odds are, over time, just one video I did, one person's seen, it can make all the difference to them. And, you know, I guess this incredibly chatty video here, kind of what I wanted to make it. I just wanted to say, believe in yourself. Because sometimes, depending on who you are, what situation, circumstances life has put you in, you may be the only one that will believe in you. So, the yellow jacket just tried to crawl in my mouth. I love nature, but I don't like getting that close. All right. But, yeah, that's what I'm saying. You got to believe in yourself. And it's hard, and there's often no one's going to pat you on the back. You're not going to get appreciation for it. But I'll say this, that shouldn't be what it's about to begin with. If you expect any kind of compensation for doing a good deed, it is no longer a good deed. You performed a service at that point. I can get into that later, because I've had a lot of that where I've done, you know, just nice favors for, done a little job for somebody for free in the past, and, you know, they're like, oh no, I gotta pay you. And I'm like, you know, I showed up and, you know, I mowed your lawn, and how would I expect you to pay me without me even talking to you about it? It's like, you know, and I tell them I can't accept the money for that, because then, you know, it's no longer a good deed. So, you know, a lot of people, you know, they don't really know how to take that in today's world. They always expect everything costs something. And while for most cases it does, it doesn't have to. Like I said, you know, I won't get too much into those stories. We'll save that for another walk and talk. But I want to just focus on anybody and everybody watching to believe in yourself. And believe this, there are small chances that things could get better in our political system, you know, with the government and stuff, but there's no guarantees of that. And I hate to say it, and I don't like being negative. And, you know, things could happen to change a lot of things, and what could be the bad thing coming could change slightly or a lot. But, you know, like I said, I'll say this, there is a high probability that bad things and harder times are yet to come. And that's just a fact, Jack. So it would behoove all of you who can, while there's still time to do so, to start preparing for it. And as we talked about for this very lengthy discussion here, if you got anybody who's stuck with me so far, you're a freaking champion. But get prepared. Stock food up. Get a few tools. Learn how to do them, even if you're not good at it. So what? At least you know the basics. You can actually accomplish a little something that will potentially help you out in the long run. If not you, maybe you got a wife, child, or, you know, just someone you're with, and to be able to take care of yourself and that person, I tell you, it feels good. It really does. So don't underestimate that. You know, that's an honest feather you can put in your cap. You know, false pride's a pretty nasty thing. And most of my younger years, I suffered horrendously from it. Kind of embarrassing now, to be honest with you. But, you know, like I said, no, that's not neither here nor there. I guess the point is I can say about that is, despite our flaws, our mistakes, you can always come back. And if you're legit about that, it'd be nice if everybody you ever offended forgave you. But reality is they probably won't, and that's okay. And that just goes back to, you don't need someone to pat you on the back for doing the good thing. Where, yeah, it's nice, but if it's in your heart, don't worry about it. I get mad even to today. I lose my temper, but I've learned to deal with it. And typically I'll go off by myself and I'm real quiet and I just need to think. And at worst, 24 hours, and I got myself lined back out. Yellow jacket. All right. This thing is probably gone on to the point where I don't know if anybody will ever watch the whole thing. But we get ready to call it quits here on this video, guys. But seriously, believe in yourself and try, and don't be afraid of failure. Because if you're not humble enough to fail and to examine the failure, truly examine those failures, see where you went wrong, and have the fortitude to keep trying and to get better. That's a shame if you can't do that. You have to be able to fail and learn from it. Some people are naturally skilled beyond others. That's just, life. People are amazing. Some people have, this natural talent at any random thing you can think of on the planet, and they can do it like a professional the first time they try it. That doesn't change the fact that you can still get there and do decent at it if you practice and put the hard work into it. So, just a beautiful day, guys. With that, we end off the video here. Thank you very much. And like I said, if you guys made it all this way through this talkie video, you are an absolute champion. And thank you all very kindly. Your time is immensely appreciated. And I'll see you all very soon in another video.